Christmas movies don't tend to have action, and for the ones that do, I feel that the violence is usually done in a comedic way and not over the top, such as in Home Alone. They also tend to follow the same format and have a lighthearted story that revolves around Christmas themes. With Red One, however, it does take a different approach to those expectations, but this approach falls short and instead we get a movie that honestly shouldn't exist, but it does. One thing will always be consistent with any movie that The Rock stars in, he always plays the same character in every movie and it's no different here. So let's quickly talk about the plot and our thoughts. The plot revolves around J.K. Simmons playing as Santa Claus and The Rock playing as Callum Drift, who serves as his bodyguard of sorts. I usually don't care for The Rock's name in any of his movies, since I always refer to him as The Rock, which I'm sure everyone does. While Santa is at the mall, The Rock is hovering around him, keeping an eye out, and he witnesses people just acting up in general, such as fighting and stealing. There's this one guy who is trying to steal a candle, and honestly, unless you're stupid, no one steals like this. He just acts overly suspicious for no reason, and it's just silly. The Rock has lost the joy of Christmas, and he no longer wants to work with Santa, since he doesn't seem to understand why people that are on the naughty list are still given presents, and he feels that bad behavior across the world has increased, which I'm sure we can all agree on. Shortly after, we see them head home to the North Pole, where a sprawling city is hidden. A hacker slash bounty hunter named Jack, played by Chris Evans, discovers the location of the hidden city, which results in Santa's kidnapping. Jack is captured by the North Pole security, and he's forced to team up with The Rock to save Santa. That's essentially what the rest of the movie is about.
This happens roughly within the first 30 minutes, and with another 90 minutes left, I can say that this movie should have at least been 90 minutes long. Not the 2 hours that it lasted. It's also confusing because I feel this movie is all over the place in terms of what it's trying to be. It's trying to be a Christmas movie, but it also wants to be an action comedy when the movie isn't really funny when it tries to be. And I found its funny moments to be unintentional, such as that guy stealing the candle. It's also trying to set up a universe with all these mythical creatures we see throughout. And I hope this movie is just a one and done thing. Let's also talk about the budget, which had a budget of $250 million. And The Rock was paid $50 million just for his presence in the movie. The CGI was questionable at times, and I imagine that's probably why the budget was as big as it was, since there was a ton of it present here. The high budget is just ridiculous, and I fully expect this to be a failure at the box office, especially with upcoming competition such as Moana 2 and Wicked. Red One is something I expect to have released on something like Netflix, not a theater release. Overall, this movie took itself too seriously, and it didn't feel like a Christmas movie. I felt like I was watching a Marvel movie, except Chris Evans isn't Captain America, and The Rock was basically Ant-Man, which leaves us with this over-the-top Christmas film, if you can even consider it that. I was going into this movie hoping that it would be decent at best, but this movie is forgetful. And if this were to ever be brought up in a conversation, it'd be something like, hey, remember that one time The Rock had a Christmas movie? Make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye!